after the rebuttal of media allegations that he inflated his already embellished salary, Mr. Collins Letsoalo, the acting CEO of PRASA, was recalled by the board. At least this is what we are told. He joins us in studio now to clarify some of these allegations. Thanks so much, Mr. Letsoalo, for your time. What is your current designation? Do we call you the acting CEO of PRASA, or are you essentially in the wilderness, as it were, career-wise?
I'm still the acting group Chief Executive Officer of PRASA, as per the letter that was written by the board that says I act until the new CEO is appointed, and in line with the secondment letter I got from the minister that says until further notice, I'm seconded to PRASA.
I just want you to clarify the media allegations around your salary and embellishing that, and with you strongly rebutting, saying that you had never approved a salary of up to 5 million rand. Not too long after that, this was just a couple of hours later, that you either resigned or you were removed. Were you fired? Were you recalled? What's the whole hullabaloo about?
I was never fired. I also learned from the media of my removal, by the way. I didn't even get a letter. In any way, if there was a letter, that letter would have been unlawful, because in terms of the public service regulations, only the minister that can terminate my secondment and no one else.
So at the moment you report for duty as normal. Were you at work today?
No, I was not at work today.
Okay.
I am avoiding confrontation. I'm allowing the minister the space to be able to engage with the board on what they did yesterday.
All right. Has there been a consultation, to your knowledge, between the board and the Minister of Transport?
So far as I know, there was a letter yesterday that I had a copy of that was also sent to the board, inquiring about the Sunday media article, and that the board should have investigated and finalized that by Friday.
Okay, so now are you saying that the board is not well affair with processes when it comes to the removal or firing of an acting CEO or an executive, that they would have had to clear this with the minister first before making a public pronouncement that you, in effect, have been removed?
Well, I would imagine they are not affair with processes concerning a second D. Maybe they understand how to deal with normal executives who arrive as a matter of being placed there by application and interview, and then be the competent person and take the position. But in cases of secondment, I think they are wrong.
So you're saying that the minister, when you speak to her, you were seconded by her. I'm trying to understand what the role of the board is if the minister has got veto power to override what the board decides.
The minister does not override what the board decides. The minister agreed with the board on the meeting that was held on the 30th of June 2016 that I be seconded, moving out of my position as a CFO to act as a group CEO of PRASA. That decision was made, and in my appointment letter, the board, through a letter that I got, said, "We are pleased that you accepted your secondment to come and serve here." So it was a discussion between the minister and the board, and this is why now I am awaiting the minister's discussion with the board.
Okay, so the secondment, in a sense, is almost an extraordinary addendum, if you like, to the normal contract, in the sense that the minister's secondment is now her prerogative to either support the board in your removal, or rather to reinstate you, as it were.
Yeah, what would have happened is that they would have written to the minister and shown their intention to say this man has done the following a certain process. In this case, there was not even an opportunity given to me to defend myself against these allegations, by the way. These allegations, the board purports, they claim that they've only known about these allegations on Sunday. They had received already questions from the journalists on at least Friday morning. We had a board meeting on Friday. They decided not to respond to the questions that were sent by the media. And so they can't claim that they did not know. In fact, when they discovered about this article on Sunday, no one of the board called me. What then subsequently happened is that I then found myself where I've got to defend myself I arranged for a press conference. I was denied to get into the building, and journalists were told that there is no press conference that's going to be held there. I organized a private venue. That's where I had my side of the story held. There's nowhere where formally the board has ever returned to me about this matter and asked me to respond.
Let's talk about your relationship with the chairman of the board, Popo Molefe. Has it always been acrimonious? And what has changed in the 8 months that you've been acting in this position?
I must say I respect Popo Molefe. He's a veteran of the struggle. He's a man that I look up to. I don't know now. I mean, we have had engagements at different levels, politically, talking about politics up to the thing. He has always been a father figure to me. I don't know what has changed. When I started to suspect something was going on was when in December, after having a discussion with me, he proceeded to write me a letter that suggested that my secondment has terminated by a fraction of time. And I said, but my appointment letter says until further notice. So I don't understand what you say. And I told him again that the public service regulations requires the minister to tell me those things. He can't relate that to me. And I'm still here, of course, because that was the arrangements that the minister reached with the board. Yeah,
let's just get to the matter of your salary increase of up to 5 million, with the allegations in the press saying that you essentially had carte blanche, a blank check, that you had signed to your heart's content as to what your remuneration would be. Would the board be involved in that kind of policy? The allegations, in fact, also goes to say that the HR executive who would not support your request for salary increase had been fired.
Well, I reiterate, Begani Khumalo still occupies his position. Molefe should tell you how he got back, because I fired the guy. He has always been there since I've been there. He must then tell us how he got back. Okay? He's a man that had been suspended twice in Prasa. Once it was at Autopex, secondly it was at Prasa. And every time after he has been suspended, he comes to a higher position. And no one can even find this employee file. So someone must answer. If there's anyone that must answer, is this Begani Khumalo and Molefe about these matters.
Okay, but you also say that somehow you're being targeted because you are a crusader, I suppose, an anti-corruption executive who wants to clean up Prasa, and by that it almost implies that your predecessor, Lucky Montana, had left a big mess that you now have to deal with.
Well, if he left a big mess, part of that mess happened under this board. So I don't want to include Montana in this matter. He has got nothing to do with these issues. Here I am. Montana was said to have been dismissed. My understanding was that Montana was released early from his notice. It's my understanding of what he was never fired for this, for anything. In fact, the authorities are investigating these allegations that they have against him. So I don't know of anything. But of course, there was lapses in control in Prasa, which we are tightening. I'm surprised that the board would worry and don't want to work with someone who would want to do that. By the way, what we have seen is that 6 weeks into my secondment, the board of Prasa wanted to remove me. Now, you can understand how much damage really can you really do in 6 weeks. So they tried again to remove me. At every meeting of the board, I'm discussed. They discuss me and my secondment, and they seek to remove me. So they found...
Why?
I don't know. I'm not sure about it. But what I can tell you is that we are running a tighter ship than we used to. I am demanding that the board must get out of operational matters, and I continue to do that because it's important that we do that. The board focus on strategic matters. They do not get involved in operations.
All right, so if the board had been involved in operations, what kind of disruptions have they caused in Prasa's ability to deliver trains and your general function?
They destabilize the entity. As you understand, when there are things like investigations, already staff is jittery, what is going to happen to us and all those things. when you are turning around an entity, sometimes issues around restructuring, issues around rationalization get discussed. So they're uncomfortable. Then comes the discomfort. Then because they are used to getting involved in operational matters, some of them had offices, by the way, at PRASA. Unconventional to non-executive directors. They still walk the corridors of PRASA, have Nicodemus meetings at hotels that I know about with executives that don't want to work.
So are you saying that the board or those that have been benefiting from the chaos, in a sense, where the systems or processes had not been followed, or there's a lack of governance, that those board members were benefiting from the chaos, and in effect, you coming there to streamline operations, to make sure that budgets go where they're allocated, and therefore they're no longer enjoying the livelihood that they used to under the disarray?
Yeah, they were essentially executive directors. They used to have offices. They used to be in the building and do work that is supposed to be done by management. I asked them that please get out of there. I have got evidence, multiple evidence of their interference, and I've talked to the chair about it. He knows about these matters, but he did nothing about it. It gets to a point where the animosity in board meetings gets to where people even spill out vulgar words, and you are insulted there, you are sitting there as executives, and I protect my executives. I hear that now that they have done this, their aim is now to get rid of people that are so-called close to me. One of them being the current executive for HR, who is now accused of doing things that are fraudulent and not following processes, which is not true. It's a subterfuge for them trying to hide the evidence that I will deal with today.
Okay, so the issue about your salary, how did you come up with 5 or so million rand as a reasonable amount?
Well, this issue was discussed. I have a letter that says that I will be paid at the level of a group CEO. That letter is there. I distributed it in the media yesterday. I also shown the media the correspondence I had. So they think that that's the only correspondence I had, I think, when they go and claim all these things. The correspondence I had with the head of benefits in the organization. And I said, please give me what I'm entitled to. This is confirmed by the email that is in front of you, titled your remuneration package. The middle email that comes from Mr. Khumalo talks to the head of our benefits division. It says, let me just summarize it. You indicated to me that Collins has asked you what remuneration package is entitled to. If I just wanted to put it, why would I say that? He said, you said that he told you that he was merely sent a copy of a payslip, and what he wanted was something written down detailing what his entitlement is in line with his position as acting group CEO. So clearly, I couldn't have said then demanded a salary. So that's not true. Now, Molefe says that he knows nothing about 4.9 million. Now, I'm going to show you that it's not true. So if you look at this very email at the end, it says, I trust, the very email I was reading, it says, I trust that you will find the earlier communication sent to the AGCO helpful in your articulating what he is entitled to in the position he occupies at PRASA. Now, the last one, where he confirms this 5.9 million, is there. He says, from the payroll side of things, PRASA compensates the total cost to company basis, and each and every executive employee structure, the package is to suit their personal circumstances. As per the attached, Lucky Montana was on total cost to company package of 5.903999. What is interesting about this email is that Mr. Molefe is copied as the chairperson of the board. Mr. Pitzan is copied as the head of the remuneration committee, which is REMCO, which is ACC.
But why are the media reports perpetuated in such a way to make you look like the gluttonous, greedy executive who's not worthy of being paid a salary that his predecessor was also entitled to?
Well, they want to get rid of me. Time is running out. July is coming. and people are panicking. This comes after I've written to them to say, pay back the board fees you owe. I also said to them that I am not going to be cajoled into doing certain things. We have got big disagreements about a lot of issues. And people would have said that. One of the issues that we differ about, which I undertook in front of Scopa, is to rein in the runaway costs of Werksmans. And he disagrees with me. And I said, on Friday, I said, I am not going to go ahead signing the invoices.
Collins, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm afraid it just seems like we've only scratched the surface, but we'll certainly have you back. And that is, I'm not even sure whether to say former or acting CEO of PRASA, but for the purposes of this interview, it will remain as the acting CEO of PRASA, Collins Letsoalo, speaking to us to clarify some allegations out in the media and the reasons for his removal.